All right, guys, grab a cup of coffee. This is about to be a banger. We're about to rank every single 7-star in the entire game, as well as showcase them all. So let's get into it. But before we do, guys, make sure you guys like the video and smash the subscribe button. When we get this video to 1,000 likes in less than a week, I'm going to be giving away a free 3x game speed. So comment down below your Roblox username if you want a free one. All right, let's go hop on into infinite mode and let's get it. All right, so these are all the units we got to rank. So it's gonna be a minute, guys, but this is gonna be a great video for you guys to get caught up on what all of the 7-stars do in the game, so you guys can know which ones to use and which ones you guys are going to want to grind for. Yes, guys, don't drive distracted. Those are ads in the loading screen. All right, here we go, guys. Training mode. Let's get it. Let's start off with a banger, guys. We got the Steel Ball Run 7-star. Here we go. So damage wise, we'll take a look at him. All right, and we're gonna be doing without buffs, just because we can do a little easier comparison. All right, it's all same levels or roughly the same level comparison. So here we go. Let's start off with Joe Kid. So what this guy does is he's actually pretty decent for raids. You guys can see his cheap upgrades. So we'll just get some units in there just so you guys can start seeing some VFX. There we go. So you guys can see cheap upgrades, full AoE and water, makes him pretty decent for raids. And then he has a new status effect, an enchant rotation. This is meta for raids, guys. It basically makes it so every unit is doing tons of damage. It basically makes enchants not matter. Like it's pretty OP. So, and then you can also max him out as well. And he gets a cool ability that's basically just like a law ability. So you guys can kind of see what this one does here. Lesson 5, it's going to make them like teleport. And so they're basically stuck on this path. It's going to be kind of hard to see unless they're really fast, but that's kind of what it does. So as far as damage goes, 195 million damage. So keep that in mind. So as of right now, he is probably more of a support type unit, but we are going to rank him in the S tier. Just keep his damage in mind for now. So 195 million damage on Joe with no buff. Not bad at all, but he might end up being more of a support unit. So I'm going to actually add in another tier. So we're going to add in another tier, S tier, and then we're going to add another tier, S+. And this is just going to be mainly for damage units. So let's go add in another tier, add a row above. And we're just going to call this the S+ tier for damage. All right. So S tier is going to be more like support. All right. And this tier is going to be more focused on the damage of the unit. So 195 million damage, not bad. All right. Next up, we have Begu Blue. Now, this one's only level 1. So we're going to have to over double the damage. So let's go max it out real quick. This guy's kind of more of a pure DPS unit. He's kind of like not even that good anymore, guys. You can kind of see what his stats are looking like. I'm going to be honest. This guy's way outdated. Like, I can't even lie. Like, dude, like the amount of outdated this guy is crazy. Like 1.86 million. You guys just saw the other guy like 100 times the damage. Like, I'm sorry, but like, no. We're going to have to put this guy all the way up in the DT. Like, I don't even know when you would use Begu Blue. Like, he's like an Evo material, I believe. Yeah, he's a pass. All right, well, next up we have... All right, one of the other Evil Shade. This guy's actually pretty freaking good. So we're going to level him up as well. I use him in raids sometimes. He actually has some decent raid stats. And we're going to max him out for damage. 44 million plus Dragon Absorption. 51 million and Black Flame. So he's effectively doing 1 billion damage over 40 seconds, which is crazy. And then he also has Darkness Flame as well, which I believe is some sort of like nuke, etc. So that one's pretty good too. So those are both good abilities. I'm gonna be honest, he's actually pretty freaking good. In my previous list, I had him ranked pretty high. I had him ranked in the A tier, so we're gonna put him in the A tier as kind of more of like a damage unit. But he's gonna be doing basically 1 billion damage factoring his Black Flames, which is pretty freaking awesome. All right, next up we have... Oh, I can't sell him. Well, next up we have this guy. This guy's gonna do a lot of damage to your base, so keep that in mind. Like, he's gonna absolutely wreck your base, but his damage is really, really high. Like, look at that, guys. 53 million. And then Spirit Fission is going to make him even more damage, but it doesn't work because I already used Dragon Absorption. So his damage is going to get pretty crazy. Wounded Pride. And he has basically like a base nuke ability. So I'm going to show you what all those abilities do real quick. All right. So this guy is going to require some crazy stuff, including Begu Blue Evolve. So this guy's Evo is absolutely insane. Keep that in mind. And this is kind of what it does. So this one is going to... All enemy types within his range turn to regular enemies. He doesn't work with cloners though. So that's the problem with Spirit Fission, is it doesn't work with cloners. All right, Wounded Pride is going to buff his overall power and add in 61 to his current damage. This is actually OP. However, you can't use this and Tatsu or Evil Shade. So keep that in mind. But this is going to make him one of the better DPS units. And then he also has a nuke as well. So he kind of has a lot of stuff going for him. So we're gonna put him into the S tier right now. And he's kind of a nuke unit though. So it's kind of tough, but I'm gonna be honest, so far it's kind of like this. Like there's definitely a little bit of a gap, but I'm gonna be honest, he has the nuke as well, which is pretty nice. And so does this guy as well. They both have pretty good nukes. So I would be honest, based on overall stats, they're probably pretty similar. So I'm gonna put it like this for now, just in case. But yeah, they're both pretty similar. They're both very good units. All right, next up we have Sukuna. This guy's absolutely goated. You guys can see what his damage is looking like. Absolutely crazy work on the damage. 116 million is absolutely insane. And he has Waffle Maker and Incomplete Shrine. Now watch out, these ones can absolutely clap you. So he has Waffle Maker and Incomplete Shrine. So I'm gonna show you guys what both of those do. You guys probably kind of need to know that information. So he basically has a burn nuke, which is really good. So basically a 17.5 billion nuke, which is pretty insane. Only used once. And this one auto kills enemies with 10% or lower HP. Now, as far as his maximum damage goes, it's pretty good, but and he also has Rupture as well. So you can't forget his status effect there too. And this kind of makes him up there with Joestar. Rupture is not a bad ability as well. So I'm gonna put him up there on the list. As of right now, based on everything, damage, etc., Sukuna is definitely one of the better options. So we'll put him right here for now. All right, next up we have Netero. Now this guy's actually really cool. Not only does he a good amount of damage, but he has this ability called Aura Synthesis. And what this allows him to do is he can like eat up other units. So you see he just ate up all those units and now he's doing a lot more damage. And of course he's full AoE as well and air. So he basically gets to eat the units and you get to place them back down again. Actually, no, you don't get to place them back down again though. So keep that in mind. So he basically eats your units and turns into a full AoE beast. So that's pretty OP. And I'm gonna be honest, if you do it right, he's really up there in how good he is. But keep that in mind, you can't replace the units. So that can be a little bit awkward, but I have him ranked pretty high on my list here. Not a bad unit at all. All right, let's go hop back in and let's go swap it out because we got a ton more units to go through. All right, this one is one of the easiest 7 stars to get. You just have to like AFK to get him. So this guy is the new one, Netero. This guy is actually also pretty busted OP. So let's go spawn these in and bang. And look at this damage, guys. Absolutely crazy work. 353 million for 8. I believe that is the highest damage in the game. So I don't know if it gets any higher than this. And he also has an insane nuke as well, which is doing like 20 plus billion. So I'm gonna be honest, I don't know of any unit that has a higher DPS than him. However, he's basically just pure damage and no support. So keep that in mind. But considering how easy he is to get, I am definitely putting him up there. And also that does delete him, but I'm putting him up there. Probably the number 1 7-star because this damage is crazy, dude. No buff and already like a billion. Absolute crazy work. Plus an insane nuke too. Not bad at all. All right, next up we have Dazai. This guy is more of a support unit when I tested him out. You guys can see the damage is absolutely... You know what? This damage actually sucks. Like, I know you can place 8 of him, right? Yeah, you can place 8 of him, but I'm sorry. This is so buns. Oh my gosh. At least it's full AoE. I believe he's also one of those units that is kind of like Rimuru. So let me double check that. All right, so he is kind of like Rimuru if I remember correctly. Okay, here we go. Type Bane. Oh, he does 2 times damage to elemental units. So that's what makes him good. And all of the enemies on the map turn into regular enemies, and air enemies as well are affected by the ability and will be then targetable by ground units. So that is pretty cool. However, the global count, the cooldown and ability do not match. So keep that in mind with a lot of these abilities. You have to wait a little bit extra after the cooldown for some reason. But yeah, he's basically kind of like a Rimuru type situation. So I'm gonna put him into the support category. I don't think he's a bad unit per se, but I don't think he's really doing any DPS for you. So I'm gonna rank him into the S support tier. If you need him, you need him. But I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. I might put other units above him for sure. All right, next up we got Madara, 7-star. There we go. Looks absolutely freaking amazing, guys. Oh my gosh. Damage wise, not bad, guys, and a time stop as well. So multiple abilities. We got Tsuku and Yomi. So let me cover what these do real quick for you. However, you guys can see the damage compared to Netero is a lot less. All right, so these are these two abilities. So enemies are rewound, not bad. So more of a support type ability, and also a time stop as well. So rewind and time stop. So I'm gonna be honest, pretty decent, but I would say based on the damage, etc., I'm gonna have to put more into the support type category, but definitely better than Desai in most scenarios, but not a bad unit at all. Definitely one of the better ones out there. All right, next up we have Gilgamesh. This guy is pretty freaking awesome as well. Okay, well, we got abilities as well. I'm gonna try to speed through these showcases a little bit, but he does have some cool freaking abilities. I would love to showcase the abilities, and I have on my channel, so you guys can look up the individual showcases on my channel if you're super curious. All right, this guy is a basically a nuke unit, but you guys can see 153 for 12 is not that great. However, his AoE is amazing, so keep that in mind. But I can drop down Netero again. I'm gonna be honest, like the AoEs definitely are not comparable, but like this is drastically more DPS. Like this is actually insanely more DPS. Like the difference is pretty major. So I'm gonna put him up here. I'm gonna give him an edge because of the nuke, etc. But a little bit to be desired there. I'm not gonna lie. All right, next up we have the combo. I'm gonna speed through these. This is a big combo to go through. You can summon so many giants. So many giants, guys. There's so many random abilities, etc. that she has. Like, it's actually crazy. Like, you can summon so many giants. Time stops. She does, like, everything. Like, literally everything. Like, literally everything you can do. Like, you can summon so many random things with her. Absolutely insane. So, it's gonna be kind of hard for me to rank her. I'm gonna be honest, her damage isn't the most insane. And you can only place one. But to be perfectly honest, she's kind of a niche situation unit. So I kind of feel like she deserves to be placed into the support tier. If you can find a use for her, she can be really nice. All right. Next up, we have Aaron. Aaron is more of the DPS equivalent. Obviously, you have the Final March as well. So not bad at all. However, the Final March turns your game speed to 1x. And it's just kind of like not the greatest. And the damage is definitely not aged well. Like, I'm gonna be honest, this is definitely one of those units that has just... the damage just has not kept up. Now, I will say you can place 8 of them, so that does make it a little bit better. And of course, it is full AoE, but 8 times 8 is only like, I guess it'd be 8 times 9. It's just really not that much, but it is full AoE, so it's not the end of the world. But then you have to max them all out, and they're kind of expensive to max. I mean, Aaron's not the end of the world bad, but like, I'm gonna be honest, I can't really rank him that high. So let's put him... I feel like he's gonna deserve, I don't know, I feel like he's better than some of these units. I'm gonna put him in the B tier for now, but definitely, you know what, actually, honestly, we'll put him in the C tier. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really think he's gonna be that good. All right, well, let's go move on to the next set of units, guys. We got a lot to rank, so let's keep going. All right, next up we have Jiren. Let's get him placed down. I'm gonna try to show his VFX off a little bit too for you guys, so you don't miss him. Let me get a little bit more upgrades there. Go. All right, 10.7k, kind of low. I believe he's an 8 placement unit, so keep that in mind. All right, max it out all the way at max, 8.63 million, but he's actually pretty cool. He can meditate for a long time, and that's just gonna basically keep raising up his damage. So his damage looks low now, but it can get pretty high. It used to be busted, but I believe it was nerfed recently. So I don't think he's that good anymore. So yeah, it really depends on when you use this ability. Like if you use it right, he can be really good. So I'm going to rank him in the A tier because I genuinely believe depending on your strategy, he can be absolutely busted OP. But it really depends on a niche strategy, but he could easily be a leaderboard unit. So we might end up moving to S tier depending on what strategies are out there for leaderboards. All right, so let's go sell this guy. And next up, we got UI Goku. This guy is crazy, man. Look at those stats, though. 0.2 SPA. Not bad for a cheap placement unit, and you can actually place him pretty easily. Okay, let me, like, not die. Oh, my gosh. All right, let me not die real quick. Come on. You gotta be kidding me. Or if I die, I swear. Oh, my gosh. All right, good. We're good. All right, well, I don't want to die here. So, Godly Instinct. Instinctive Beam. So, a lot of full AoE madness, guys. This guy gets absolutely crazy, though, and he charges up an insane nuke as well. So keep that in mind. 89 million, but full AoE is not bad at all. Plus a nuke. Now that honestly isn't as high as Madara, etc. And you guys saw Netero's damage. So I'm gonna be honest. We're gonna have to put a little bit of the brakes on the glaze here. I'm gonna put him right up here. into the A tier. I don't know. Yeah, I'll probably put him right about there. He's pretty good. Full AoE is not bad. Can't complain. All right, next up we have Gojo, guys. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna speed through this. Gojo, he's a meta time stopper. He is not a damage unit though. He does have a nuke. 8.7 million, not good enough. However, if you do him right, he can do a little bit of damage because he has 8 placement, but he is a nuke and a like time stop nuke. So he's basically one of the best support units in the game. So we easily have to rank him up here in the S tier. So highly recommended, just not good for damage. All right, next up we have the Path. This guy did get a little bit of a reskin, full AoE, and he's one of those units that has like a lot of units combined. So you guys can kind of see all the stuff he does. He does like burn, he does like bleed. So he has like a lot of stuff combined. He heals your base, which can be very nice, very nice. Path Furious, not bad. All right, you got a lot of Gale Slow is actually pretty freaking good if you do it right. So he kind of has just a whole lot of stuff combined together, and that kind of makes him an interesting character. I don't think he's part of any meta strategies, and his damage isn't that crazy, considering that SPA is absolutely diabolical. But he is a pretty cool unit because of all the stuff he can do combined. So that's pretty cool. So I'm gonna be honest, if you can find a use case for him, you can be pretty busted OP. But as of right now, I'm gonna drop him in the B tier, unless there's some meta strategies that drop with him, but he's not a bad unit. All right, next up we have one of the best units of all time. This guy, his damage is kind of not that great, single placement, but he has Holy Selection, the best buff in the game, guys. Best buff in the game. No more Irwin buff, easy dubs, guys. Absolutely crazy work. Absolutely must-have unit. Really nice to have. So easy S tier on the support, guys. I'm not going to rank this one in order per se, but a really great buff unit right there. All right, next up we have is kind of like his correspondent, Old Will. Now this guy's also pretty good as well. I got to undo this. So decent stats. Honestly, not even bad for raids, but he only has like 3 upgrades though. So maybe not that great for the raids, but early game. Yeah, he used to be a good early game unit. All right, full AoE, but you can kind of swap it out a little bit. But look at that damage, guys. I'm sorry, but this damage isn't the craziest, but burn is pretty good because burn lasts not a long time. He's basically doing 7x this damage, which is pretty freaking sick actually. So like, it's actually not too bad. However, he does have his good upgrades are not like that, but this one will spawn in a summoner as well, so which is pretty cool. He can also summon. And then North is going to be burn 47 million for 15 SPA. So I'm gonna be honest, he's not the worst unit in the world, but I don't really think anybody's been using him in meta strategies lately. So he is honestly a C tier 7-star. Like, he just doesn't have a whole lot of use cases. So I'm gonna give him the edge over Aaron though, because he's a little bit more versatile, but definitely not much to write home about. All right, let's get out of here into the next set. All right, we got a long ways to go, guys. There's a lot of 7-stars in the game, but I'm gonna cheat real quick. This guy sucks. I'm putting him in D tier. He is an ultimate flex though. I'm just keep that in mind. I'm not really gonna count him as a reskin. I mean, he's reskin, so I'm not gonna count him as a 7-star. He's just a reskin of a 6-star light Yagami. So he's not even really a 7-star. He's just technically a 7-star. He's a reskin of a 6-star. So, all right, here we go. We got Sid. Okay, we got the nice Sid. We got Umbra. And then we have Poochie. Oh my gosh, we got some good units in this batch, guys. Dang, we got some really good units in this batch. Look at what they did to Boris, though. That's crazy work. I think I still have people asking me for Sid. Okay, looks like we just had a bug and nothing loaded in the game. So this is going to look really weird on the video. Wait, what? We're not even on low graphics mode. I don't know what happened, but sometimes it just bugs out. So here... Okay, I don't know what's going on, but we got Umbra. Now look at the stats on Umbra. Bleed is what makes it good. Really good for raids. Definitely a raid meta unit back in the day. Combine her with him or her with Asta, and you're doing some serious work. Really good. Like, this is definitely one of the raid goats. But look at that damage, guys. I'm sorry, this does not add up over time. Like, that's not good at all. However, it does have a nuke as well, which is pretty nice. Now, unfortunately, definitely more of a raid unit, but this list is more based on infinite mode. You gotta watch the rest of the video if you want to know how good it is for raids, etc. So honestly, frankly, not your best bet here. I'm gonna be real, guys. This is kind of sad to say, but going in the D tier, man, that's tough, guys. That's tough. Sid kind of got power crept. That's just the facts right there. I kind of like the white beard look. It's pretty good. All right, next up we have Poochie. I'm gonna be honest, guys. He's more of a support unit, but look at that stats, guys. 0.1 SPA, dude. I love it. All right, that's what we're talking about. All right, let's go max him out. He could be useful for raids, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe not for endgame of raids, but he has time acceleration. This basically makes DOT really good. So this is really just a DOT buff effect. And then he has universe reset, which teleports all the enemies to the back of the base. This is gonna look really funny right now. Oh my god. This is gonna look really funny because the textures didn't load. And it sends you flying away. Like, they actually cooked on this ability, so I wanted to showcase it. But Poochie is definitely a meta support unit. No doubt about that, but you guys can see the DPS. You can place a bunch of them. I believe you can place 8. Yeah, you can place a full 8 of him. However, the DPS just doesn't add up. However, he is going into the support tier. Again, the support tier isn't really ranked because, again, it depends on what scenario you want the unit. But he is generally considered one of the better support units in the game. So keep that in mind. All right, next up we have Goku and Vegeta. I believe this guy was a battle pass unit. All right, damage-wise, okay, that's actually really bad. And he has a nuke that you have to charge up. Oh my gosh. Guys, this is trash. This is actually trash. Oh my gosh. Dude, what? This is so bad. This is so freaking bad. Oh my goodness. I don't even know what to say. I didn't realize they were that bad. Jeez, guys. Well, let's put him into like D tier. I don't even know if I could say it's better than Sid. I had it better than Sid in my old ranking, so I'll put it there, but dog, what is this unit, man? All right, next up we have Boo. I used to like Boo a lot. I used to bring Boo all the time. I believe it's because he did like something weird with the base. No, he was a time stopper, that's why. Yeah, he's a time stopper and he heals your base. So, and he heals your base a lot. Because this is really nice on bosses. You can basically tank bosses, etc. That's kind of what made him special. However, damage kind of sucks. He's definitely more of a support unit, and I'll be honest, it's kind of hard to rank him in the S tier because I don't think anybody uses it, and honestly, there's units that heal way more than him now, so I can't really give him a lot of credit. But I will say he's kind of more like a B tier support unit, so I'll put him in the B tier, like, not the end of the world, but I don't think anybody uses him anymore. All right, next up we have Boros. Boros used to be one of the damage goats. Like, look at these damage stats, guys. Absolutely crazy work. No buff, 158 for 12. No ability either, but dang. Like, that is some serious damage. Unfortunately, I think he's kind of a little bit outdated. And B tier for Boros. I know that's kind of tough. All right, let's move on to the next set. All right, here we go. We got Luffy 7-star. Definitely one of the better units in the game right here. He is more of a support unit though, because he has a lot of abilities. You can see what the damage is looking like. I used to actually like him a lot for raids. Like, he used to be one of my raid goats. So I like him a lot, honestly. You guys kind of see what some of his VFX look like. They cooked on him. 44 million for 4 isn't the end of the world damage-wise, but he does have some abilities. So he has like a nuke, and then he has a liberation, which basically makes you last longer. Like, kind of like a summarization of what it does. However, I will say the damage is a little bit outdated, but if you use liberation right, it basically gives you a second life. It's pretty OP. So I'm gonna be honest, I can't really rank him in the damage tiers, but I will say in general, he's going to be a pretty decent support unit. But as far as like how good of a support unit he is, definitely not insanely good. I'll probably put it like that for now. All right, liberation, 5 seconds to activate liberation. Basically, you have to die within those 5 seconds for it to work. It's kind of weird. But next up, we have Kirito. I believe this guy got buffed a while back. But Kirito's absolutely goated, guys. One of my favorite animes. I've watched every single episode. If you guys know any news about any new episodes coming, let me know. Like, DM me ASAP. All right, but the damage-wise, guys, just did not hold up over time. But I will say, like, raid mode, he held his own for a while, guys. Raid mode stats, honestly, not the end of the world. Not bad at all, especially if you have the buff. But yeah, damage-wise, 73 for 9. Good, decent AoE. Definitely not enough to put it anywhere near the rankings, unfortunately. So Kirito kind of got a little bit cooked. I'm gonna be honest. This is kind of a yikes, but we're realistically gonna have to put him like right behind Boros. He's very, very similar to Boros damage-wise, DPS output-wise. All right, they were released around the same time in their kill style. Okay, this guy's actually Guts. I know this is like a Guts skin. Yeah, I know. It is Guts, guys. Don't worry. So this is Guts. Used to be really good. Look at all those cheap upgrades. This guy used to be one of the raid mode goats. Look at all these freaking cheap upgrades. Like, all these are affordable in raid mode. And then he also has Rupture as well. So very, very cheap Rupture unit. And maxed out stats, not bad. 35 for 6. But you just saw Netero was doing 10 times this damage. Granted, he doesn't have Rupture, but keep that in mind, guys. Compared to some of the new units, some of this actually gets pretty crazy. So Guts is actually way out of the meta, man. I got him ranked in this freaking... Bro, I got him ranked in the C tier, man. Dang. Bro got cooked over time. Oh my gosh. I believe it, though. Those stats are kind of buns. All right. Next up, we have Gohan. This guy, you can place a bunch of. He's a rage unit, I want to say. Yeah, rage unit, 691. So damage-wise, isn't the worst. But you're going to have to wait a lot of ways for it to kind of stack up. So 6 million DPS isn't bad, but it's going to get up to like 12 million DPS, which is okay. But you just got to wait a long time, and he's kind of expensive because you have to buy 8. So you have to like spend like 16 million on him. So he's not a cheap unit. I have him ranked in the D tier. So yeah, I don't really show a lot of love to him, to be honest. All right, next up we have Tanjiro. Yes, guys, this is Tanjiro. Oh my gosh, I saw the movie, bro. So good. So good. W on the movie. All right, anyways, let's go max him all the way out. 71.9 million for 12 SPA and Sunburn. And a Blessing too. Not bad at all. I honestly have him ranked okay on my list, but he's definitely kind of a mid-tier unit. Now remember, these are pretty much better than any 7-star you can find, but I have him actually ranked in the C tier. I'm actually have him ranked higher than Guts. I wonder why that is, but yeah, I have him ranked higher than Guts. I think he's doing like slightly more DPS than Guts. All right, let's move on to the next set, guys. We kind of got to speed run it because this video is already 25 minutes long. Holy. All right, here we go, guys, and bang. This is one of the units that got the game almost taken down, guys. Remember, this unit got changed right when AA got taken down back in the day. All right, let's go. Okay, I'm gonna speed run him because he sucks. Like, he never got buffed or nothing. DK, he gives like an ability. It's not the worst ability. Like, it just makes the units take damage over time. So I can't really say it's that bad of an ability. So we'll spawn it. And he is cheap enough you can afford a max amount of rage. You can see it just does like really small amounts of damage over time. So it's not the end of the world, but again, like, I can't really say much for this unit. And then we also got Deku as well. Deku is another one of those units that does like everything in one, which is actually kind of cool. Like, you can see like how many abilities it has, like so many abilities. Like, it's actually crazy how many abilities this guy has. Like, he does everything. So unfortunately, he's unobtainable now, so I'm not going to really showcase him too much. Because if you already have him, then you have him. You can check out the showcase for him. But he basically does everything like stun, slow, etc. So he's kind of pretty cool in that respect. And next up, we have Zoro. Zoro's also kind of a beast. 46 for 9 isn't bad at all. And he hits airs. So can't really complain with that. So definitely not as good as some of the units we've shown, but not that far off of a lot of them. So I'm going to rank him pretty highly on the list. So here we go. Let's go rank those 3 units, guys. Again, we're trying to speedrun this a little bit. This guy absolutely sucks. D tier. D tier for sure. All right, Zoro. He's not that bad. Not that bad at all. I'll put him right there with Boo. Not really that bad. And of course, we have Deku. Now, Deku has a lot of random things, so he might have some potential. So I'm going to put him... I'll put him... I'm going to be honest. I don't know if he has that much potential, but... you could theoretically do him for something, so I'll put him right there. He's not too bad. All right, next up we have Aizen, guys. Aizen is one of the goats. Okay, this guy's just busted. You can place a ton of them too. 8 of them. I'm gonna be honest, guys. This guy's one of the best units ever for raid mode. You guys can see the stats. Doesn't look too crazy, but these are the abilities, guys. Hypnosis Reverse and Hypnosis Takeover. These are the abilities that are gonna change your life. All right, let me sell this guy. So Hypnosis Reverse is done that, and this guy takes over the unit and summons them. So this guy's a boss destroyer. Absolutely OP as frick. Must have for every raid mode. So now I'm gonna be honest, you guys can kind of tell his DPS isn't the craziest, but you can copy units that are OP. So I'm gonna be honest, can't really give it this, but I am gonna give it easily an S tier for support. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like, this guy, very, very good for raids. Very, very, very highly recommended. So I'm gonna put him right about there. Highly, highly, highly recommended. All right, next up we have Meliodas. Another very, very, very recommended unit. This is what he does, guys. Disintegration. Look at this. Bang. It'll cut the enemy's HP down by a ton, and it's percentage based. However, his DPS is a little bit mid, but technically speaking, he's doing 10 million DPS, which is not that bad for this kind of an AoE. So he's actually a pretty decent unit. He used to be like okay for raids back in the day, but I think he's a little bit outdated for raids nowadays. So, but Disintegration is actually pretty sweet. So I'm gonna spawn in a unit for us. And I'm going to try to show off this disintegration ability. So you can see they're at 741 right now. And then we're going to disintegrate them. And now they're at like half health. Like, this is OP. Like, you really want to use this ability in infinite mode. Like, this is a must have. Like, you do that and then you nuke them, they're cooked. Absolutely cooked. So we're going to easily rank this guy up here. S tier for support. I'm going to put him right here. Very, very must have unit. Next up, we have Mob. If you guys don't know, when this guy dropped, my car got wrecked during that live stream. Like, literally. A driver basically just destroyed my parked car live on stream. Absolutely crazy work. But maxed out stats, 26 million plus a nuke. Not too bad, guys. But again, you guys can see that DPS did not age well. He needs a mega buff. So because he needs a buff, unfortunately, he is ranked right here in the list. All right, let's move on to the next set, guys. We're almost done the tier list. Let's keep cooking. Dude, this is a marathon. If I covered anybody too fast and you have questions, feel free to comment down below, because I know this is a marathon video. All right, and we'll also showcase all the blessings as well at the end, because I bet you guys want to see what kind of blessings we're working with. So I'll do that at the end of the video for you guys. So, because I'm pretty sure that is definitely something you wanted to see. And I know I haven't covered them all yet. All right. Oh, Katakuri, guys. Look at the reskin, though. Crazy work. Apollo, guys. Goated. Ooh, Diavolo. Not going to lie. Pretty good units right there. All right. I'm going to bring these. Yeah, we're good. We're good. All right. Let's hop back in. We got this set and then another set, and then we can showcase the blessing. So if you guys have been enjoying the video, make sure you guys subscribe. Remember, 1,000 likes. We can get that in the next week. I'm giving away a free 3x Game Pass. So comment down below if you want it. Let's cook. All right. One of the goats, guys. One of the absolute goats. Katakuri. Katakuri, guys, must have. I believe he's a whack slow now as well. One of the best slows in the game. It doesn't last forever, but it's way slower than Blackbeard's slow. So keep that in mind with Katakuri. And I believe he does hit air units as well. So I'm gonna be honest, guys. Mochi, and look at those VFX, guys. We'll do a quick little showcase. Those are some cool VFX. Bang. I know I haven't been able to showcase all the VFX as much as I would like to, but again, I don't want this video to be an hour long. Maybe I do. Maybe the watch time will be crazy. So I'm gonna be honest, guys. Everybody knows this already. I can't really say much about this. But Katakuri, easily one of the best units in the game. And frankly, I'm gonna put him to the S tier for support. Like, you can't really complain with him. All right, another unit that actually got a major buff lately. Shockingly, Sasuke. He's now a single placement unit, but look at this, guys. 106 for 9 plus Black Flames. 2.1 billion damage total? What? That's insane. I can't say it any other way, guys. That's insane. S plus tier, dude. And guess what, guys? He hits airs too. 2.1 billion damage with no buff. With no freaking buff, dude. With the buff, dude, this guy just cooks. Absolutely cooks, man. All right, now if you place them both together, you get doo-doo, guys. I'm sorry, but it looks dope, though. It looks dope. I'm not gonna lie. It looks freaking dope, but dude, the damage, though, the damage, guys. However, that means you can place both at the same time. But if we take a look at Naruto's stats, he's an 8 placement unit, guys. Keep that in mind. 2 million DPS, though. So 2 million times 8, 16 million DPS. Not that bad. Add in an extra little bit from Kurama. I'm gonna be honest. I can see somebody bringing him. Maybe. I don't know, though. Netero is just like 10 times better. All right. I'm gonna be honest. I would be honest. What I would do is I would bring Sasuke and just not bring. I don't think he's worth it for the DPS. Like, I'm gonna be real. For the price, I can't recommend bringing him. So D tier, I don't think anybody should ever use him. Naruto, though, shockingly not that bad. Like, I'm gonna be honest, 2 million, so 16 million DPS. I technically think that brings Naruto up there a lot. I got Naruto up here with them. That's not bad. Yeah, that's not end of the world. Obviously C tier, but you know, I had an F tier in my old tier. Like, my old tier list, guys, I had an F tier, so I'm a little bit nicer in 2026. There's no F tier right now, but maybe I should make an F tier. All right, well, I got distracted with those because I want to showcase Kurama, but and you can't sell Kurama. All right, next we have Princess Apollo. She has like water affinity 5 on her, if you want to know why she's doing different damage than yours. You guys can see the DPS is pretty bad, but it has Touch of Grace. So what Touch of Grace does is, you can see I'm gonna spawn like a powerful unit. All right, so I'm gonna spawn a powerful unit, and then we're gonna use Touch of Grace. So Touch of Grace removes some. I don't think it removes cloners though. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of like a budget Rimuru. However, you guys can see her DPS is absolutely buns, and I believe she's a 4 placement unit. Yeah, she's a 4 placement unit, guys. So again, her DPS is just so freaking buns, man. To be honest, her DPS is so buns. Even factoring in her ability, I have her ranked really low on my list. I actually have her in the D tier, which is shocking. Yeah, wow. I have her in the, yeah, that's bad. I have her ranked in the D tier, even factoring in her ability. Dang. All right, next up we got Ichigo. Ichigo's actually pretty good. I used to use him in raids back in the day. Like, that's not too bad. Like 7.7 million fully AoE, not bad. 43 million, 64 million plus Awakening. So Awakening is what makes him pretty cool. So 64 for 8 isn't bad, but then you awaken him Black flames, but he only hits airs, guys. He only hits airs. However, that is insane work. However, the problem is I just showed you a different unit. This guy does not only hit airs. I'm sorry, but this totally outclasses this. Like, I know this AoE is god tier, but like, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna take the double the damage, guys, and hitting every unit. So, and just only about the same price. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, guys. We're giving Sasuke the edge for real, even though his AoE is definitely worse. I will say though, Ichigo isn't that bad, but the problem is he only works on air units, so that's kind of a niche situation. But I will give him bottom of B tier. I don't think he's that bad if you could use him in the right situation. But if you don't have him awakened, he is absolutely buns. So keep that in mind. He's only good in air unit modes. All right, next up we have Diavolo. Now Diavolo DPS sucks. All right, he does have bleed, but I'm sorry, you're using him for his erased ability. Now what does the erased ability do? I'm gonna spawn some speedy dudes. All right, we're gonna spawn some speedy dudes. And we're gonna use the ability and bang. Okay, basically it's gonna teleport them all the way back on the map. So it just teleports them like 3 laws and time stops them. So it's actually a pretty good ability. Okay, well they just got absolutely cooked. And it also does like a 25% damage on top of that too. So I'm gonna be honest, guys. Diavolo is definitely one of the better supports in the game. So I'm gonna give Diavolo a little bit of credit, and I'm gonna put him in the S tier support. I can definitely see people using him in gauntlet mode, etc. So I'm gonna give him a little bit of love. Bottom of S tier, but he might be honestly ranked a little bit lower than that. All right, we got the last set, and then it's time for the blessing showcase, guys. Let's absolutely cook. All right, here we go. We only got 3 left. Let's get it, guys. First up, in memories to metal cooler the goat, guys. I got water affinity on mine. Comment down below if you guys know how to get that. If you know, you know. This guy has the self-clone ability, making him one of the raid mode gods, bro. 22 million, absolutely OP. And of course, you can place 8 of them. So you can just spam the map with clones, and he works really well on multi-path maps. Absolute GOAT, must have for raids, one of the GOATs. Now, I'm gonna be honest, on my list, I didn't give him a lot of love because for infinite mode, he's worthless. But I'm gonna give him some credit, guys. I'm gonna put him in the A tier because he can be really nice for a lot of raids. But infinite mode, do not use him. All right, next up we have Broly. Guys, this guy is outclassed. 102 million damage, that's a lot, but 16, however he is rage. So his damage will like double, but he is full AoE. So honestly, it's not the end of the world bad, I will say, but like it just does not really scale well. You have to place him down early and max him out early to get the maximum effect out of him. So I have him ranked decently on my list, like better than some of the like units that people usually like, but I'm gonna be honest, not the best in the game. Oh, I think I missed Griffith. Oh man, we forgot a unit. I'll be right back. Right after I showcase Cell, we forgot Griffith on the list. All right, we'll double check to make sure I didn't forget anybody else. But here we go, Cell. I believe Cell is outdated, but he did get buffed. Yeah, he got buffed a lot. 15 for 8. So he's basically like Naruto. I'm gonna rank him behind Naruto though because you can't create Susanoo. But he's a lot like Naruto. Like a lot. He's basically Naruto. So he's not bad. But yeah, basically based on Naruto. So we'll put him right there below Naruto. All right, we got one more unit and it's a banger. All right, so Griffith, one of the GOATs, guys. I'm not gonna show the front of him because you guys can see what you would see. Anyways, yeah, his clothing broke. All right, here we go, guys. Stat-wise is absolutely crazy work. He's a slow unit and air, so not bad at all. And he does have standby. Now, what does standby do? It allows you to do intervals. So that's the whole point of standby. All right, and he hits airs. He's like an air slow unit. But I'm gonna be honest, most people would just use Katakuri now, like to be perfectly real. So it's kind of hard to rank him that highly. His DPS isn't that bad though. Which is kind of nice. So he's doing a little bit more DPS than Katakuri if you really care about that. But I'm gonna be real, he used to be a lot better, but Katakuri hits airs and is whack slow. So I don't really think anybody meta really uses this guy. But he's not really that bad. I have him ranked in the B tier. All right, so let's go over to my entire tier list. So this is my entire tier list, and I'm gonna show you guys all of the blessings now as well. So I'm just gonna change this to S and S+, put the screenshot on the thumbnail. But yeah, that's the tier list. Now let me show you all of the blessings for all of the 7 stars. So I think you would really like that a lot. So first up, this is Ryuk's blessing, guys. I don't have him on me right now. I usually borrow my friends, but this is what Ryuk's blessing looks like. All right, so I'm gonna look like this, guys. I know it's a little weird, but this is how I load it in. Please load in the rest of my clothes, Roblox. I don't know what we're doing here. But let's showcase all the blessings on a blank canvas, I guess. All right, anyways, here we go, guys. Joe Kid blessing. All right, not bad at all, guys. All right, not bad at all. All right, let's clear that. Here we go. We got Vegu Blue Evolve Blessing. Not bad, not bad. All right, next up, Evil Shade does not have a blessing. All right, Vegu Ascension's Blessing. There we go. Not bad at all. All right, Sukuna Blessing. Yo, that's pretty peak. That's pretty peak. There we go. Ant King does not have a blessing. Netero does not have a blessing. Dazai does not have a blessing. All right, Legendary Leader Blessing. Okay, that's pretty peak. Not gonna lie. All right, here we go. Heavenly Duo Blessing. Not bad. Hey, we finally loaded a shirt in. Let's cook. Let's cook. All right, here we go. The Founder. Not bad, not bad. All right, Aaron Doomsday. No blessing. So the Founder has a blessing, but Aaron Doomsday does not. That's interesting. All right. Universal Justice Blessing. That's pretty peak. Goku Instinctive Blessing. I love that one too. That's just a good all-rounder. All right, Gojo's Blessing. Really classic. There we go. The Path Final Blessing. Not bad. I love it. All right. The Almighty Blessing. Pretty cool. Old Will does not have a blessing. Umbra does not have a blessing. All right, Poochie Blessing. I like it. Pretty cool. Kind of a weird pose, but you know. All right, Luffy Blessing. I love that one too. Really good. All right, here we go. We got Ultra Koku. Not bad at all. All right, we got Boo Kid. Not bad. I like it. We got Alien Boss Final. Really cool blessing. Here we go. We got Kirito. Not a bad blessing. We got Griffith. I'm not going to comment. Organs Berserker. Not bad. Got the whole armor going on. Ombre has one, just not Umbra for some reason. Not sure why. All right, Kogan Adult Beast. Looks pretty dope. Humble Swordsman Awakened. Looks pretty cool. Not bad with the sword. Oh, wow. True Evil does have a blessing. That's actually pretty cool. For an unobtainable unit. World Vigilante. Oh, wow. That's pretty dope, guys. If you like Deku. Here we go. Zoro Blessing. Love that one. All right. Aizen Blessing was really cool. Oh, my gosh. I love Aizen's Blessing. It can fit with so many outfits. All right. Meliodas Blessing. Really freaking dope. Love that one. All right, we got Stampede's Blessing. Oh, that was a classic. That was featured in so many blessing combos. Again, comment down below if you guys want to be in a blessing combo video. Not bad. All right, Ichigo. Cute, cute, cute. That can combo with a lot of things. All right, Princess Apollo Blessing. Wow, that's a lot, bro. I guess this is one made by Game Fam. Wow, that's a lot. All right, Diavolo Blessing. Classy. Classy. We got Sasuke Blessing. Not bad. Naruto Blessing. It can work with certain outfits. For sure. No Blessing. Broly Super Blessing. We got Metal Cooler Blessing. There we go, guys. Those are all the blessings and all of the 7 stars showcased in ASTD. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment down below your blessing combo, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.